Hi everyone, hope you're doing absolutely awesome. Today we're going to be taking a look at 3 budget trekking poles. I purchased all 3 sets of poles myself from Amazon.com, and I have no affiliation with any manufacturers. They are all carbon fiber shaft trekking poles, and they are all flip lock poles. So the one on the top is Myapaspt. Yeah, those crazy names. And the middle one, Starlight Mountain, and the one on the bottom is High Stream Gear. So the grips of the trekking poles are essentially identical, basically totally the same except for the different color of the plastic here. They vary in the length of this foam section slightly. This one on top, the Myapaspt, is slightly shorter. As you can see, the shaft diameter of the Starlight Mountain is slightly narrower than the other 2 poles. Unlike the handles, which are essentially identical, the 3 poles feature similar but different flip-lock mechanisms. The 2 poles on the top, the Myapaspt and the Starlight Mountain, have plated steel screws which appear to screw into a brass nut that is embedded in a plastic knob. The pole on the bottom, the High Stream Gear, appears to have all aluminum hardware. Another difference is that with the 2 poles on the top, you can easily unscrew the whole mechanism and take it apart. So the nut just comes off. With the High Stream Gear on the bottom, the nut appears to be captured and is not easily disassemblable. One issue with the 2 trekking poles that have the steel screws could be corrosion. And you can see that this one, even though I've never used the pole, you can see the screw is corroding already. So the plating is not very good at all. One design aspect that I find odd about all 3 poles is that even though they use obviously different carbon fiber tubes, the final section of each tube on all 3 sets of poles narrows down towards the end. You can see the tube narrows down in this section, and that has the effect of when the pole is supposedly locked closed, you can extend the final section by a certain amount on all 3 poles. So I find that a bit strange and annoying. The Myapaspt poles, despite having an excellent stiffness to weight ratio, have a problem, and that is the flip locks. You can see if you take a look at the flip locks, all the flip locks are right near the edge of adjustment, meaning you can't make them any tighter than this. And this one here is cranked all the way down, and then when you click it closed, you can still move the pole in and out. However, if you're willing to go to the hardware store, you can remedy this by just getting a washer and putting a washer right there. And that does work. That does fix the problem. Here's a spreadsheet that I made comparing the 3 poles. The Myapaspt on top I paid $36 for. The Starlight Mountain was $50, and the High Stream Gear was $50 also. Not shown in my table is the closed length of the poles. The Myapaspt on top is about 3 centimeters longer than the other 2 poles. One thing that I'm uncertain about with all 3 poles is whether the tips are replaceable. This is my deflection measurement setup. All the poles are set to 125 centimeters measured. The blue masking tape marks the center of the pole. The weight is 5 kilograms measured of water, including the rope and the carabiner. And the ends of the poles are set on wine corks. So I'm going to measure the deflection between the unloaded pole and the loaded pole, and I'm going to do it for all 3 sets of poles. These are the Myapaspt poles. The deflection with these poles is noticeably less than the deflection of the Starlight Mountain poles. So these poles are stiffer than the Starlight Mountains. The High Stream Gear poles show the least deflection of the 3 sets of poles tested and are thus the stiffest. An easier method to compare the stiffness of 2 trekking poles is to mark both poles at the same spot, approximately near the center of the poles. and then prop up the poles so they're diagonal against a table like this. And then you're just going to want to apply pressure evenly to both poles at the same time with both of your hands. So apply pressure to the left pole with your left thumb and the right pole with your right thumb at the same time. And close your eyes and apply pressure evenly. And then just open your eyes and see which pole has deflected less, and that is the stiffer pole. So which is the best budget trekking pole? Well, the Myapaspt, even though it's considerably cheaper than the other two poles and has a good stiffness to weight ratio, the issue with the flip locks not locking completely rules this pole out for me. So of the Starlight Mountain and the High Stream gear, the High Stream gear is the heaviest, but it is also considerably stiffer than the Starlight Mountain. The Starlight Mountain was the most flexible of all three pole sets. And also, I prefer the aluminum hardware on the locks of the High Stream gear. So for those reasons, my vote goes to the High Stream gear carbon fiber pole. If you've come across any budget trekking poles that are better than these, please share below. Also, if you have any comments or questions, I'd love to hear from you. Also, if you could subscribe, like, and share, I'd really appreciate it. I'd like to thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye now.